Good day, everybody. I hope that you are well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 3, our grade 2 English lesson on irregular past tense. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once we've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username, as well as our password, and we're going to select this chapter or the subject of language arts. Grade 2, and then we're going to scroll down up until we get to the chapter of irregular past tense. All right. So our chapter is irregular past tense. Our subject is English language arts. Grade 2. And our lessons are to identify the irregular past tense, so we're going to identify the irregular past tense, and that is going to be group 1. And then also to identify the irregular past tense, group 2. So that's going to be our lessons for today. All right, so when it comes to past tense, right? Before we even go to tense, remember tenses either tells us if it's present tense, past tense, or future tense, right? And past tense, it tells us about things that had happened already. All right. And when it comes to just in the past tense, then usually the regular past tense, it's like it follows a rule where with the regular past tense, we either add an ed, we add a d to get the past tense of the verb. That is basically when it's regular past tense, right? And examples of regular past tense would be words like jumped. So jump, and in the past would be jumped because we would add an ed. Saved. This is where we only add a d, like they would say, right? laughed, played. These are a few examples of regular past tense where we only either add an ed or we add a d, right? And then we have an irregular past tense. So we have regular past tense, right? Which follow rules where it will say that in the past tense, we either add a D or we add an ED to get the past tense form of the verb. But when it comes to most of the irregular past tense, right? Irregular past tense, they do not follow any rules, right? Instead, you're just going to have to remember the past tense form of the verb. So you're just going to have to remember the past tense form of the verb. All right. And when if and let's look at an example of an irregular past tense. It says Lewis did his homework. So Lewis did his homework, right? This is now an irregular past tense. And did shows us that it is the irregular past tense form, right? And the present tense form of that word is do, right? So do would tell us that it's something that he's doing now, but in the past he did, right? So do to did. So do you see the wording changes? We did not add d, we did not just add ed. The wording changed. So that is why we say that with the irregular past tense, there's no rules that you can follow. You're just going to have to remember the past tense form of that verb. Another word, if we also look at a few irregular past tense, then we can think of words like the present tense form of the word sing. It changes to sang. So do you see how the word changes? Sang. Think in the present. In the past, I thought about it. So do you see how that wording changed, right? So to think about it, I thought about it. Run or ran, right? So that is a few examples of irregular past tense. And as you can see, the wording, it changed. And that is why we say that some of the irregular past tense, they do not follow any rules. You're just going to have to remember the past tense form of that verb. So you're going to remember the form because it changes. All right. And we are doing our tutorial lesson today on aplusstudents.ca. So we are doing a tutorial lesson on aplusstudents.ca. So let us go to aplusstudents.ca, where we will be doing our tutorial as well as our test. So we're going to the first lesson, which is to identify the irregular past, group 1. All right, so once again, we see that most of the verbs are regular in the past tense. And that means that you follow a rule like to add ed or to add a d to get the past tense form of the verb. But then we have some of the verbs that are irregular in the past tense. And this means that you do not follow a rule. Instead, you must just remember the past tense form of the verb. And then we made an example of did. Lewis did his homework, so did is in the past, right? And did is an irregular past tense form of do. So that is how it's an example of how the wording has changed. And that is why we say that with the irregular past tense, we do not follow any rules, but you're going to have to remember that past tense form of the verb. All right. So now we're going to say which sentence is in the past tense, right? It says, they're actually not even telling us which sentences. They're not even giving us the sentences. Oh, yeah, it says, we hear the most beautiful bells. Or should we say, we heard the most beautiful bells? Which one do you think is the past tense? Is it to when we say, we hear the most beautiful bells, or we heard the most beautiful bells? Which one do you think is in the past tense? To hear or heard? So we need to say which sentence is in the past tense. If we say that we hear the most beautiful bells or we heard the most beautiful bells, we need to say which one do we think might be in the past tense. Hear or heard. All right. And if we were to say which sentence is in the past tense, right, with the specific word, and then we can say it's a sentence with the word heard in. Because heard is in the past, hear is the present, right? So we heard the most beautiful bells. So heard is in the past tense. Yes, well done. All right, it says they sing that song beautiful. So they sing that song beautiful. Or should we say they sang that song beautiful? If we look at these two words written down, which word is in the past tense? They sing that song beautifully, or they sang that song beautifully. So we need to say which one is in the past. Is it they sing that song beautifully or they sang that song beautifully? All right, then if we choose the correct word that shows the present tense and the past tense form, and then we can say it is sang, right? So sang is our correct word. So they sang that song beautifully because that shows the past tense form of that verb. All right, so sang is correct. So well done, sang is correct. All right, we now need to say which sentence or which word is in the past tense. It says Tammy comes into the kitchen. So Tammy comes into the kitchen. So the word comes. Or do we say Tammy came into the kitchen? Which word is in the past tense? Comes or came? All right. And if we were to choose the correct word, which shows the past tense form, then we can say that Tammy came. Tammy came into the kitchen, right? Because remember, we are not doing the past tense forms. So Tammy came into the kitchen. All right. So if we were to show that sentence in the past tense, we can say Tammy came into the kitchen. All right. So now we're going on to our test where we are going to identify the irregular past tense. Let's go to our test. We need to look at the sentences, right? It says which sentence is in the past tense. Which sentence is in the past tense? So we say Mandy found pennies on the ground, first option. All right, so we're going to identify the irregular past tense, right? Which sentence is found in the past tense? Mandy found pennies on the ground or Mandy finds penny on the ground? So Mandy found pennies on the ground or Mandy finds? And found is correct. So well done. The first option is correct because Mandy found already in the past, right? Finds is now in the present. All right, so well done. Option one is correct. Then it says which sentence is in the past tense? The girls got ready to go or the girls get ready to go? So which sentence is in the past tense? Do we say the girls got ready to go or the girls get ready to go? The girls got ready to go or the girls get ready to go? So the girls got ready or the girls get ready? All right. And if we look at the sentence that's in the past, right? All right. And if we want to say which sentence is in the past tense, then we can say the girls got ready to go. So got ready to go. Yes. So the first option, yes, is correct. All right. So do we say in the barn we heard owls or in the barn we hear owls? All right. So we need to say which sentence is in the past tense. All right. And if we say which sentence in the past tense, we have heard and we have hear, right? So we can say in the barn we heard owls, and that is All right. So if we check and we identify the sentence that's in the present, like, or basically now, which is in the past tense, we can say, in the barn we heard owl, owl noises, or we heard owls. All right, so heard is correct. All right. Yeah, the next one says, the birds flew above the river. All right. Yes, all right. So we're going to say, the birds flew above the river. So this is in the past tense, flew. All right, so we're going to say the birds flew above the river. Flew, not fly, but flew, because fly is in the present tense. But they flew. So well done. Option one is correct. All right. Now I need to say the birds sang in the daytime, or the birds sing in the daytime. All right, so we need to say which sentence is in the past tense. Is it the birds sang in the daytime, or the birds sing in the daytime? All right, so we can then say the birds, yes, the birds sang in the daytime. Not sure if it's only me, but it seems like all of our answers, the past tense forms, are all by option one. So do we say the birds sang in the daytime, or they sing in the daytime? All right, so we can then say that the birds, they sang. So sang being our past tense verb. So we can say the birds sang in the daytime. and that shows the past tense, right? So well done, option one is correct. Now we're going to identify the irregular past tense group two, right? That's basically just group one and group two, which will be the same. And remember, we said that when it comes to the irregular past tense, then there's no rules that you're going to have to follow. You're just going to have to remember the form of the verb. All right. So we're now going to say, we're going to again identify the irregular past tense, right? And we're going to our test because it's the same as me having to explain the previous one, or that one, which is the same like the previous one. All right. So if we were to choose the irregular past tense form, do we say Ben throws rocks into the pond, or Ben threw rocks into the pond? Throws or threw? All right. So if we were to say that, if we want to change or choose the correct word in the past tense, do we say Ben throws rocks into the pond, or Ben threw rocks into the pond? Throws or threw? All right, then if we choose the correct option, we will choose option two, which is Ben threw rocks into the pond. Threw rocks into the pond. All right, so after breakfast, I leave my house. Or do we say after breakfast, I left my house? Is it leave or left? All right. So we can say after breakfast, I leave my house, or after breakfast, I left my house. All right. We are going to choose even based on the explanation, choose based on the wording in front of us. It says after breakfast, I leave my house. Or in the correct one, we will say after breakfast, I left my house. And left is correct, which is the second option. Which sentence is in the past tense? Is it the strong wind blows out here? So do we say that the strong wind blows out here or blew out here? So we can say the strong wind blows out here, and we can say in the past also the south wind. So do we say the strong wind blows out here or blew out here? All right. So if we choose the correct one, we can choose the second option, which where we say is the strong wind blew out here. So blue is the correct version of the past tense of. All right. And if we choose the correct one, it says the children. This which sentence is in the past tense? Where we say the children begin school this year, or the children began school this year. All right. And if we want to say which sentence is in the past tense, All right. And if we were to choose or to say which one is in the past tense, is it the children begin school or the children began? And in this case, we can say the children began school because you guys already chose option 2. So well done. All right. It says, which sentence is in the past? Martha keeps rabbits in the cage or Martha kept rabbits in the cage? So keeps or kept? Keeps or kept? All right, so we can then say Martha kept, because kept is our past tense version of the word keeps, right? Yes, well done. Kept is correct. All right, let's do the last one. It says the tired children fell into bed, or do we say the tired children fall into bed? We need to say which one is in the past. The children fell into bed or the children fall into bed. All right, and if we choose the correct one, we can say the children fell into bed because fell is the past tense of fall, right? All right, so that is now the end of our lesson on irregular past tense. We said when it comes to irregular past tense verbs, then there's no rule that you need to follow because you're just going to have to remember, right? There's no rules like ed or d. You're going to have to remember the form of that verb. All right. So that is now the end of our lesson. Grade 2, thank you very much for joining the class, and I really hope you're going to have a good evening further. Goodbye.